Good morning from Moody Radio Cleveland. Our whole team is together, and we had somebody write a heartfelt note to us asking us to discuss something on the air because they know that we're in that unique position. I've heard pastors say this as well. There's certain things we can talk about that they can't.
Right.
And that makes me smile. It makes you smile too, Ron. I can see it.
Yeah. And I feel good that we can provide a service for them.
Yes.
Because we can take the heat, and it's not any, skin off our nose, I guess.
Yeah. Or back or wherever you're supposed to take that skin off. I don't remember. Okay, so the complexity is this person shared with us a very detailed, terrible story, but we can't share the details of it, or everybody will know who she is, basically, is what her concern was. I don't think that's necessarily true, but okay, so here's what I can share with you. She wrote to us shocked, convicted, and concerned by the behavior of people in general and Christians specifically. So she's connected to a place that's being sued and has gotten some public and media attention on this, and social media, some viral posts and such about this organization that's been sued. And she's an insider. So she works at the place being sued. And she knows the whole story. And this is the first time she's been in a situation like this where somewhere she has all the information is being covered by social media and people in the community. Okay? And as you can imagine, they're getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Because they don't have all the information. And she said that folks are jumping to terrible conclusions about her organization. And then they're calling and writing and saying some of the most horrible things she's ever heard in her entire life. Like threats.
Right.
And she's having to field some of these, and it's caused her to kind of start spinning. Because again, some of these people that are perpetuating the rumors, not having all the information, are Christians. And the Christians think they're like kind of, have some sort of righteous indignation without all the information.
Right. Based on what they know, they probably do have righteous indignation, but they're righteously ignorant.
Yeah. So the part we can share is she writes this. It's opened my eyes to how easy it is to believe what we see on social media and to take sides without even knowing all the facts. This is where you come in. If you can find a way to address the problem of buying into social media posts and discussing what our Christian response should be, without giving the specifics referenced above, that would be great. I would hope that Christians are smarter than this. But even I have had to check my own heart about making judgments about something I saw online, although that's as far as it goes. I'm not posting negative comments online or making threats, but still, I see how easy it is to have those negative thoughts. So perhaps the topic will help someone else.
Yes.
So what's our initial response to her dilemma?
The verse, I wish I could remember the reference. Be quick to listen, slow to get angry, slow to speak. That comes to mind. Mm-hmm. And I think, in general, Christians are really bad at that.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's something about the era in which we live that all of us have a significant dose of false confidence about what we know.
Well, I think the internet boosts false confidence. Because if I say something to your face, Brian, that is like blatantly false, you can correct me and then I look like a fool. But we're hiding behind keyboards. We don't have to have that face-to-face interaction of being called out and being wrong.
Yeah. And so many rumors turn into, well, it must be facts because it's written down. And in the olden days, Walter Cronkite said it and I believed it,
Right. In the olden days, you could trust those guys. They were truly editors. They were very concerned that you had, you who brought the story had double-checked it and verified it with a number of sources so that when a junior reporter brought it up to Walter, it was vetted and known to be true. We have less and less of that today as, we're cutting away the budget of news agencies, as evidenced by the Plain Dealer going from being 2 inches thick to being a 1/4 inch thick or whatever. And news agencies are the same, television and radio.
Well, and we've also gone to the point where people are like, those mainstream media people, they may have editors, but they're all conspiring to change our minds and hurt us.
Yeah.
So you know what I believe? That guy that randomly posted on social media who says he heard something.
Well, also because attention spans are so much shorter and just the way we consume news, there's so much of it. There's so much to consume. We tend to just read the headlines. And 90% of the time, you're not getting the full story. You're missing important details when you consume like that.
Right. The headlines are not written by the author of the article. They're written by another editor and designed to basically be bait to draw you in.
Correct.
So now you have a follower of Jesus. She loves the Lord, listens to the show, and works for an organization that's being sued. And not everybody that gets sued has done something wrong, by the way.
True.
I could sue you right now, Ron, if I wanted to.
Bring it on.
I'd lose. But you know what I mean? Like people presume, oh, they're being sued. They must have done something wrong. Well,
Right.
not necessarily. And the community's buying into lies. Now, keep in mind, depending on who you work for, you can't just be like, hey, guys, sorry, that's all wrong. Here's what really happened. For legal reasons and confidentiality reasons,
Yes.
sometimes you can't share those things.
And even the information you can share, it's hard to get it out as fast as the disinformation is
Yeah.
spread.
And like if you work in medicine or I don't know, education or whatever it is, there's certain, even in corporations, there's information you can't because of human resources laws
Right.
and confidentiality issues. And she's beside herself. She can't even believe it. Who are these people who are believing all these lies? Us.
Yeah. Typical humans.
And I think she's concerned about a problem that is much larger than any of us realize. I mean, if it's happening on a local level, to what extent is this endemic, you know? And how are we as Christians to process through that? We're people who certainly believe in objective truth. We believe in the truth of the scriptures, the truth in who Jesus is. And as people of truth, we ought to be, people of truth. And
Makes sense.
it gets a little disorienting this day and age when truth has become more and more elusive. It's not just that I think moral relativism is a thing. For those who don't know, it's just the idea that truth is whatever you want it to be, like your truth, my truth, and all that. People, Christians get worried about that. Sure, fine. But I think people also have created these scenarios of what they've decided is true because of what sources they trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a relative nature to that that is pretty scary. Now, I bring that up because somebody asked us to talk about this. Like, how should Christians respond when things are posted online? Very short version of the story. She works at an organization being sued. Her entire community doesn't have the whole story. And they've gone apoplectic and made horrible accusations and threats. And she's just totally disoriented. Like, who are these people? How can they do this? And then she kind of goes, oh, wait, I've done this when I read things online. So we know that social media is filled with misinformation. Reporters will even tell you, here's what we know, and it's incomplete.
Yeah.
How do we, as Christians, navigate this stuff?
I'm just not certain why we're calling and emailing places when we're like not a part of it and saying mean and horrible things.
Right.
Like if you're not a part of the situation, why are you calling an organization? Because what they seem to have done, what you think that they have done, you're mad about.
Well, yeah, it's outrageous, that thing. And they need to know, Lauren. I'm a Christian, and what they're doing is wicked.
They're being sued if they know that someone thinks that what they did was wrong, whether it was illegal or not, or whether it was true or not. If you're not a part of it, I'm just like not certain why you need to be calling and emailing places. I don't know.
Right. Not only is it questionable, it's wrong. If what you're doing is attacking them. If you're writing to ask for more information, you can do that. They may not be able to give it to you. If you're writing to say, I understand you're under pressure, I'll be praying for you. If it's that type of an organization, you could write to Meta or Amazon or something. I'm praying for you in your court case. They may not care that you're praying for them. But so often we fail to try to think critically and to as our Native American friends would say, walk a mile in another man's moccasins and see what could be the possible situation.
So what's the better course of action for this person you're talking about, Lauren? They've heard some information about what's happening. There's a lawsuit. It's terrible. Saw it on social media. It's in their community. This could be terrible if it's true. I want to call them and tell them what's up. What should they do instead?
There are actually multiple Bible verses about minding your own business.
Tell me more.
I pulled up some of them. 1 Thessalonians 4:11, and to aspire to live quietly and mind your own affairs and work with your hands as we instructed you. Proverbs 26:17, whoever meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a passing dog by the ears.
And also, we're called to be peacemakers, not people who go and yell at other people about stuff
Amen.
and say unkind things. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. The Bible doesn't say you can go be mean to someone if what they did was wicked and true.
Yeah, we feel like it says that.
Yeah.
What does it actually say?
To be peacemakers.
And love your enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do wish it said, if that guy was evil, go get him. Grab your pitchfork, nudge your neighbor, have him grab a torch, let's get him. That's not how the Christian faith works. And yet, boy, okay, I've done this. Even in, like, she talks about, she's never posted stuff, but in her own heart,
Oh, sure.
which is the right way to examine yourself.
Right.
You know, you hear a story, you go, well, that's outrageous. How could they put up with that? How could they allow that to happen? These idiots.
We run into that even here. You may bring up some survey, and the survey says, Gen Z are doing crazy things and the boomers are all upset about it. And then we start to delve into it, go, well, what was the exact wording of the question?
Mm-hmm.
And who did they interview about this?
And those things matter.
Right. And so, we kind of tear apart the survey by asking the questions.
There's also consequences for sin, and those consequences are generally not ours to dole out. Sometimes those consequences are what we would call natural consequences, and it comes out through the court system. Sometimes people seem to, quote unquote, get away with it, but God will deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the only solution then to this listener's dilemma is that all of us need to care a little less about what we see happening around us on social media and in the news.
I think you can care. I just don't think caring means you have to go get involved in it by calling or emailing.
But even like drawing a conclusion.
You can't. You don't have the full information.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with drawing conclusions, because when you have facts presented to you, it's really hard to discern whether these are all the facts or not. I think it's what you do with the conclusion you draw that then becomes a problem.
Okay, so then what do we do with that conclusion? If you go, boy, this sure sounds bad. If what they're telling me is true, this is not good.
I think you should leave it at that. You're, wow, that's awful. I'll have to, I have opinions now, but I'm going to have to wait and see how things play out.
I say it to my son all the time. You can be mad, but you can't be mean. You can be mad. It's okay to be mad, but it doesn't give you a right to be mean about it.
But in some sense, what Daria's saying, though, is you need to kind of let go.
Yeah.
But we don't do that. That's not how social media works. That's not how life works. Nobody's doing this. Is this how we're supposed to be different?
I think so.
It seems as if it's something that nobody cares about. Now, I know it's melodramatic because that's me, but I don't know that I've seen many Christians, me included, who are not getting all up in the business and talking about all the things happening and drawing dramatic conclusions and getting mad.
That's because the people that are doing that you're not seeing them. So you're right. You're not seeing the Christians who are acting like Christians. You're seeing
The other ones are very
outraged.
loud.
Yeah.
I am increasingly wondering at what level ought we as believers to even engage in social media that does those kind of things. Like, I've heard of people who are like, I'm just going over to Instagram because it's way less angry over there. Is it, though? I mean, I don't know. I don't.
It depends on.
Yeah, it depends on the
It,
pages.
it
you
really
follow.
depends.
Yeah.
To an extent, yes, but also people are still people, and the internet is still going to internet.
So it sounds like an excuse, but I wonder if we should just care more about the issues right in front of us that we know everything about. and not worry as much about everything else. It sounds odd, but
You can study it, research or whatever, but don't trumpet half-baked opinions.
so don't ever post on social media. I mean, it's amazing. I look at this thing. I've tried to follow lots of different types of people, and this is just like it's what lots of people do. I've read this article, therefore I understand this clearly, and everyone who disagrees is a total idiot. And now here's a dramatic post about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes against what we've just been talking about. We should be more concerned, though, it seems to me, with the things of the Lord and the things immediately in front of us in our own lives that we are privy to.
Yep.
And then, in all other things, be as much of a peacemaker as possible. That doesn't sound very salacious, though. Doesn't sound very...
We're not supposed to be salacious.
Where do you find that in the Bible?
Well, I'm not saying it's in there. I'm just saying it sounds boring compared to what's happening now.
I think we could all use a bit more boring in our
Yeah,
lives.
it's like,
Be okay with boring.
bring the heart rate down a little.
Walk humbly with your God.
And here's the other challenging part. When you talk about just at least the business we're in radio, I've talked to many people who have worked in both secular and Christian radio. And when you encounter them, they're horrified by what they find in Christian radio. Because in secular radio, people are way nicer in their emails, their letters, and their calls. They can't believe the behavior of Christians towards each other in Christian media. I mean, it's shocking to them. Some of them leave Christian media because it's a lot less traumatizing to just work in secular radio. What do we make of that? Why is it like that?
I wish I knew.
I think Christians are very preoccupied with their worldview, and they think that their worldview is the only worldview and that other people should adopt it, and they feel very passionately about that.
Yeah, we need a course correction, I think, for followers of Christ, and more so than in years past because of the era in which we live. We have always talked about how kids have never faced what kids today face. So true. What I guess we're not facing anything as grown-ups. Like we forget about that. We need a major course correction as followers of Christ. We should be sticking out like a sore thumb in society. People almost annoyed at how much we are making peace and loving one another and other people. And yet the opposite appears to be true. Maybe we'll play a part in that course correction. Maybe not. Hey there, thanks for joining us. Like you, we're looking for a different kind of conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video.